And start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Board, is there motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda for today.
Okay. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes, okay. Ms. Cushionberry, any public comment?
No, sir.
Okay. Is there also a motion to approve the committee meeting?
I move that we approve the committee meetings for minutes for May 14th and May 23rd, 2024.
Okay, I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay.
Let's keep that pace going.
Keep the pace going.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to provide an executive construction update for the 2019 bond referendum, the 2023 bond referendum, and for the 8% capital projects. In the monthly materials, you'll see under the 2019 bond referendum that there's one red traffic light and one yellow traffic light. The red traffic light is on slide 3. It's associated with Robert Small's Leadership Academy. This has been reported since the time when J.E. Dunn failed to achieve substantial completion for the phase 2 work back on April 23rd. The current monthly update is it appears that substantial completion for that phase 2 is to occur this week. Fingers are crossed that it comes in above the finish line.
Can I just share one thing? Very impressed that, I don't know what you folks did, but, J.E. Dunn got the substantial completion notice on the 23rd, and they responded on the 29th. It doesn't say that here, but.
I think what you may be thinking about was Whale Branch Early College High, the next one that's coming in. Right, because on that one, that's slide 19, that's the yellow traffic light. CPPI, who is the construction management at risk firm on that project, has been having problems with payouts. When you have problems with payouts, it's difficult to pay yourself. So, long story short, the district issued a notice to cure to CPPI on July 23rd. They provided a written response to that notice to cure by July 29th. And the district's director of procurement and business systems reviewed that notice of cure and determined that it had been fulfilled. And little hip pocket information, there's corrections for 4 prior payouts that they were struggling with. Those have been received, reviewed, approved, put in the hopper to be paid. So it was an effective notice to cure. All of the other 2019 bond referendum on the project updates are reporting green traffic lights for budget and schedule. Moving on, if I may, real briefly, the project closeout, slides 29 to 31. There's 30 project closeouts that remain. The comment sections have been updated. We are tracking once again under the attachment 3, which is the financial summary as well, because in addition to looking at the project level, the financial commitments also are a good telltale sign that things are heading in the right direction, and in that there's 194 that we didn't close to date. Moving on to the financial update, slide 33. Once again, these figures are as of the end of July. The overall report for finance associated with 2019 bond referendum is being reported with the green traffic light. The current referendum budget is $375,710,000. Paid and committed funds total just over $374 million. The remaining available funds, including contingency, total just over $1.5 million. There was a little contingency activity in the month of July where savings were returned just over $123,000 and use of $130,000 and $13. Contingency remaining at the end of July 2024 is $122,653, and analysis is still indicating an overall soft landing where remaining work can be accomplished using the remaining referendum funds. For the 2023 bond referendum monthly project updates, those are slides 38 to 52. All of the projects being reported have green traffic lights. A couple updates for some of the more significant projects. May River Elementary School, 100% construction documents were received and issued to Thompson Turner before the end of July. Thompson Turner Construction is preparing the guaranteed maximum price proposal, and we're going to review that as soon as it gets received, and we expect to receive that in a week. The new Early Learning Center, slide 40, the project kickoff meeting was held in July. We also do have a request for proposals, RFP 25004 on the street to onboard the construction management at risk firm for that project. Proposals are due by 4 p.m. on August 29th. At May River High School, the CTE JROTC edition, slide 42. 100% CDs are scheduled to be issued this week. Hilton Head Island High School, slides 43 to 48. The phase 1 construction and the design for the phases 2, 3, and 4 are progressing on schedule. The New Ladies Island Middle School replacement, slide 50. Community input meetings took place this past Saturday. I'll provide some additional details on that when I get to the community outreach portion of my update. And very similar to the RFP for the new Early Learning Center, that same RFP is on the street to hire the construction management at risk firm for the New Ladies Island Middle School. Those proposals are due once again 4 p.m. August 29th. For the 2023 bond referendum financial update, slide 54, figures once again are through the end of July. Financial update is being reported with a green traffic light overall. Current referendum budget is $439,035,000. Paid and committed funds total just under 24% at $104,952,114. Remaining available funds, including contingency, total just over $334 million. There was no program contingency used so far to date from the 2023 bond referendum. So that means we still have the full complement of program level contingency. That's $11.5 million. We also have included in this month's report the project level contingencies. The original project level contingencies totaled just over $17 million, and the remaining level project level contingency at the end of July totals $16.7 million. For the other monthly project update, slides 58 to 87, all of those are being reported with the green traffic light. Community outreach activities, slides 90 to 91. The district hosted a woman and minority business enterprise and local vendor workshop on July 24th here at DESC. The WMBE firms, as well as the local subcontractors, had the opportunity to discuss our upcoming construction projects with representatives that were present. Present at the meeting were BCSD operations department staff, as well as Turner and Townsend Erie staff. Our project managers were all there. Each of the CM at risk firms that are doing services and future services with the district were present. That's Thompson Turner Construction, Ajax, CADI, MBCon Construction, and Shoreline. And we had a much better turnout than what we've seen before in the past. There were 12 companies that showed up that were interested in getting some subcontractor work out of this opportunity. So that was good to see. The other outreach that I wanted to report on was for the New Ladies Island Middle School replacement. Community meetings took place this last Saturday. We held them at St. Allen Elementary School, Ladies Island Elementary, as well as Coosaw Elementary School. Those are the three schools that feed into Ladies Island Middle School. The community participants were given the opportunity to provide input by using green stickers, red stickers, and sticky notes, so we could get a little more in-depth input. But what we were trying to find out was, what did they like about the existing Ladies Island Middle facilities, both interior and site related. What don't you like? Suggestions were then obtained for, the new classroom spaces. What would you like to see in them? Same thing for outdoor and public spaces in that facility. And then lastly, we also wanted to pulse and obtain input on the importance of the history and the culture for Ladies Island. So what we were discussing was local musicians and artists, the Gullah Geechee culture, the military service and community, as well as prior athletic and academic accomplishments. So I think we gathered a lot of really good input from that outreach. And the last thing I'd like to report on is the request for proposals, RFPs, and request for qualifications, RFQs. The RFP 25-004, those are the construction management at risk services for Ladies Island Middle School and the Early Childhood Center in Bluffton. Those deadlines, once again, are 4 p.m. August 29. And though your material may have said that we're working on it, I've got positive news to report. RFQ 25-003, professional design services for our civil site projects. That was issued on August 15th. Deadline for responses is September 18th. That concludes my executive construction update. Do my best to answer any questions if there are any.
I got a couple, and I think it's under the amendments, it's for Hilton Head, SCA, Food Creative Arts, I guess it is. And RFP 20-016. And it's from 22. And the reason I'm asking about it.
What's the question?
Is well, here it is. On the 3/11/22, it was scheduled for an upgrade. And that was, the term says not required, superseding. I'm not saying the term before. And then on May 10/22, RFP 20-004, then we actually did an upgrade for $795,000.
Are you asking about amendments associated with those RFPs and the use of superseding?
Yeah.
Let me help on that.
Yeah.
So what we often will do is if we can identify some long lead items or some early services that we need to get going, we'll go ahead and get that put under an initial amendment. But because it needs all of the costs factored into it, and that often falls in place when we do like a phase 1 GMP number in its entirety, we'll go back and give total numbers and then just supersede the first one. So it's like it never happened. And CMs like to work in that fashion, and it works quite well for us, especially when it comes to paying payouts, et cetera. So we do use those occasionally, but that's the purpose.
Okay, I've not seen
No,
that.
that's fine. Good question. Appreciate it.
All right. That's it. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Do you have information about the status of teacher, staff, faculty training, and the use of all the security devices in the schools? They were supposed to work on this summer, and so I'm wondering if I can go down to the school and see the button on there, and they know how to use all the systems. Do you know if that training has been completed?
So not in all of the schools, because not all the systems are in place with one thing. I know that Colleen from Beacon Varsity keeps a list, and so I'll be glad to get that for you and get it over to you on where we are as far as completing training. Because that's coming through the IT department, they do the actual training. And system, do you have any idea on systems left to complete?
I don't, August Big
Like-
Vargas is spearheading that effort. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight. He's being down sick earlier. So we said stay away.
I can tell you.
But we can get that.
They were testing, we're getting notifications tonight, of systems they're testing. So, I mean, we're still testing them, but I can get Colleen's summary spreadsheet, which will let you know where we are. All the students.
So can you bring that into the operations?
I can just bring that next meeting. Hopefully by the
Well, send it
next
to the
meeting, then they can all be done, but yes, I can get that.
Question.
Yes, sir. In terms of the community meeting that you had on Saturday, who, where, what, when, why, and how did we go about doing that?
So that was sent through the school. I know the Ladies Island Middle School principal coordinated with the elementary school. The elementary school sent out to parents and other groups announcements. It's St. Helena, we had some staff members, some community members. So those notifications didn't come. And
And
actually.
there was a flyer also, I put a picture of the flyer in the material package
Last
as well.
operation.
It-
And it was also in the Island News, there was an announcement about the event.
Right, and you're picking up the date on Saturday.
I don't know.
I don't know who picked that
That was
date, but it
coordinated
was
with-
coordinated with each of those locations and selected.
Because my community said Saturday was not a good day. I mean, maybe a more of a, maybe of a actual weekday. And a lot of people, they just like, oh, I heard about, Sunday had a bunch of calls about a meeting that was had about the new Lake Island Middle School. I'm like, because I kind of did, for me, it Saturday definitely did not work as well.
Right.
I didn't pitch about it, but community members were saying that, there were several different other things going on, and to have it on Saturday that was kind of odd. They felt that was kind of out of the norm. Normally, those things are on a weekday, so there was a lot of people who were not felt that they were not included in that. And so I'm not sure if was that the first phase or what that looked like, or and then also to even get started. And I wouldn't even say a first phase because as you move along, you're getting information from the community to help the project. So I think in the first phase, it was not part of information in Q&A 1 and 2. I think we may have not gotten everyone. I mean, so how many people you say were at all those meetings combined?
18.
That's nice. Just the other night, the board meeting, we had one board member who was talking about a school event and participation, and it wasn't even that much, So that's, I'm looking for more participation than 18 people. Just to say, hey, we did it. We did a trimester. People didn't come out. Yeah, I'm not really enthused by that. So I'm not sure how we can or what we can do to possibly open that back up. But I think it's worthwhile.
There will be a follow-up meeting, so this is, like you were saying, the first phase, there will be another meeting, so this meeting was to get design elements, and now the architects are gonna come back and report on what they incorporated, what concepts they incorporated into the building and show that to the public at the next phase, so there will be another meeting.
Yeah, I would fully expect, very similar like what we did out in Hilton Head, where did some initial community gathering of input, then brought some information back to the SICs, a follow-up with the community again, so that they could see where things are heading, but at the same time, still feel that it's soon enough where some input is value added.
All right.
And if I may add, Mr. Smith, you are so well connected. Excuse me. In the community, are there certain individuals that we should reach out to?
I would definitely say, even the churches and just a different radio station and the different people. I mean, that's how I've been kind of getting things out. So I think some of them, which is like I said, we kind of just caught off guard, and so that's just yeah. And now one lady just asked me, she said, "Where were you at?" She said, "Where yesterday did you go to the meeting?" I said, "No." And she said, "Oh well, I think she said her sister or something. I went, I came to the meeting. Yeah, you went now. I'll let her know staff."
I'm surprised you weren't there.
Yeah, well, I was actually.
I know that you were. Beautiful.
Okay, yeah.
So, Ms. Gordon?
I have to agree with my colleague. I actually saw an announcement in the local paper And, I called the principal at St. Helena and I said, you guys are having a community meeting about Ladies Island Middle. I know we haven't, I haven't heard it in any of our board meetings that this meeting, was coming. So I was like, I know I can't make it that Saturday, which I thought I should go to at least one of them. But they were all on Saturday. At 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it's in your material.
Yeah.
And the last
So-
one was.
It's 3 or something.
Yeah.
All on the same day. And basically, you're talking about the same, almost same families. You know, so you gotta pick if you're gonna go to St. Helena, Ladies Island, Middle, or Coosa. And so I can go to either. And as a matter of fact, the principal of the parents, because this is a new system. So I would like to at least say, yes, I got it, email from Mr. Allen. We know that there's an issue, he's working. And that's all I say. And I can't go into any particulars, but thank you. But when you said, wow, really? I said, don't know.
Additional details would be helpful. for the
It
conversation.
would be, at least, if not to me, at least to the couple, somebody so we can tell the parents something about their children and what's going on with them. First week of school.
Yeah, I hear you. And trust me, there's no one more frustrated than us than when a new brand new unit comes in and isn't working right. But yes, I hear your request to be notified when issues like that occur.
At least we can respond, that you are aware and the district's,
Just the fact that the call comes in, wherever it comes to, can say, yes, I'm aware of that.
aware of it.
And, here's a little background, I'm not going to detail, I don't need that, but they need to know that it's
I'm like,
on the
no
front
background,
burner, it's getting
I'm
addressed.
aware they're working.
Well, please, if you have a question on that, please feel free to reach out to me and ask me what's going on.
You guys respond back to you immediately, so you can follow back up, it won't take, you probably get the same answer, the same day.
Let me ask you a question. Is this an opportunity for an official communication protocol on Dr. Booth's office? So that the people who by district are on distribution automatically? I mean, it would go through you.
Could be, what's your parameters of sending that out?
That's what you decide.
We won't know if there's a problem, you will. And there should be something going on from this district to the parents, that they're aware that there is a concern in your working. That shouldn't come from he and I, but at least if they call us, we can say, Mr. Outing is aware. And then
There's such a good job you folks do with communication in
Yeah.
this scenario, so.
Yeah, I think we can do something. Let us get the opportunity to put Robert's head together with mine and with Brandy as well as JD, who we're quite informed on this subject matter so that we can come up with a tool
There you go.
to use going forward and determine frequency, et cetera.
And parameters and just on.
Yeah, through Robert to the sources to be.
And can we review that next ops meeting? Is that too early or how much time?
No, yes, we can, I think, I was already. Yes, you can. Perfect.
Thank you.
Once we get back up and Victor's not on, we can't hear anything. He probably might want to do a recap of what you all have just been discussing, because
You
we're off.
should be- You just can't see the screen, but we're,
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
That's what I'm asking. If he couldn't hear us for a while.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, there was just a couple of minutes there that dropped out, maybe two, 3 minutes.
Okay,
Thank you, though.
So do we need the 2 or 3 minute update? Mr. Nay?
I think I got the gist of it. Something about notifications going out. What was that concerning?
AC.
Yeah, down new HVAC unit at St. Helena Early Learning Center.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Mr. Nay, the theme overall is that there's such a large amount of work being done. And a lot of new equipment is coming in and the team is working very hard to make sure everything's in place at the appropriate time. Sometimes there are glitches. And now when those occur, what the leaders decided is to sort of put together a protocol and make it very official and we'll discuss it next meeting.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Is that for updates or just for when HVACs go down? Or I mean, what's the criteria that requires a response or a push out?
They're going to decide that and come back to our next meeting with some specifics.
Copy all. Thanks.
Think of it.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks, Rob. Ready?
So, are you You want me to wait, Robin, or?
It's,
That's okay.
there's. It's coming.
I love these updates.
Oh. I will lay that on. She does a great job putting our data together. She does a good eye for it.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon and, Mr. Smith, for your, raising the issue with some clarity.
Thank you.
Y'all.
All right, so tonight we are presenting the maintenance and custodial update. It is a larger report because we did include some additional data, some comparison data sets for board members for the committee to look at our fiscal year totals from one year to the next. So I'm just going to go through and do a quick summary kind of in each section. I'll let you know. The first section of this report, so on slide 1, we focused on the custodial update. This is going to look a little different this month because routinely you're used to seeing spot inspections and you're used to seeing staffing numbers and those updates based on our current contract that we have with HES. But right now we're in a different period of time. We're in a different season with our custodial contract. And so for June and July, we did not complete spot inspections. The purpose for that was we move our focus in June and July to our deep cleaning scope of work. So we back off the inspections, we let the contractor go in. Obviously, we know summer school's going on. We've got construction going on. We've got so much going on in buildings that it really does not behoove us to be in schools trying to inspect them with a lot of work going on. So we will in the future get back to doing spot inspections once we get our new vendors in place. So snapshot for the new vendors. We are moving forward with transitioning to the new vendors. On July 9th, the board recommended and approved the award to 3 vendors. So we have the Bud Group, we have ABM, and Interstate Premier. Our current contract service provider, HES, will stay in. We've extended their contract through September 30th, and then the new vendors will start October 1st. We have completed contract negotiations with all 3 vendors, and we are currently operations staff is working along with HES to start our kickoff meetings and to start identify our transition plans. Because obviously we've got 3 vendors. The first time we've done this, we've got 3 transition plans, 3 schedules we have to go through migrating staff to the new vendors. We've included on slide 1 the breakdown. So you'll see 6 groups identified at the top of each heading. You'll see that assigned contract service vendor for each group. Moving on to page 2, slide 2. We have our custodial recognizing success. So I won't read through these, but just I do want to kind of put out there just feedback on HES was very successful based on what we're seeing at the conclusion of summer cleaning. We've gotten more kudos with the work scope that they did and the quality of service that they provided than we've had since the inception of the contract. And you'll see on this slide too that we do have some, snapshots of where they were in various schools. Really just some of these, the before and afters are just absolutely mind blowing to see the progress from one set to the next. They did acknowledge their staff. That last picture there, their staff worked really hard to get through the summer work and to navigate the challenges of construction in our shortened summer. And so they did support a lot of their staff and do appreciation events throughout the district. The other thing I want to say about HES is just acknowledge their support during our migration, our transition. They have been, I will say, excellent partners, and you never know when you make a movement from one contractor to the next with hurt feelings how things are going to go. And we still have 6 weeks to go, so I'm still going to be optimistic. But so far so good. They are disappointed at the result, but they are being very supportive with meeting with our new vendors and our operations staff and getting us through this transition period. So we will have more updates in the future for custodial. It's gonna look a little different in the coming months. I'll kind of look at where we're progressing with our custodial vendors and see as we're doing this transition, if there's something valuable that y'all may want to see as we move towards these 3 new vendors. So before I go on to maintenance, any questions about custodial? Yes, sir.
When it comes time for a resumption of the way that you did it before, will we still have the numerical analytical charts that we used to?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yes.
3 of them.
3 of them?
Yes, so, and that's.
gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah, and maybe that's something to think about, that we can discuss at future operations committees, having 3 vendors, what does the committee really want us to capture?
I would like to see granularity for each one, so I can distinguish who.
Okay,
Or should, just thinking about it, maybe we focus on one each meeting, but.
I prefer to see each of all 3, because I really want a comparison of who's
Yep.
doing well, who's bad.
That's one of the reasons to have 3.
Thank you. That was a good move on operations part too. Panning out very well. Thank you.
and one of the things we're doing to try to, I'm glad you mentioned that, Mr. Dawes, one of the things that we are working very hard and will continue to work in the coming weeks and months to, try to pull all 3 together is to create I call it basically a district training packet where we're setting expectations and guidelines based on the scope of work in the contract for every single contractor that are the same. So that district training packet, once it's vetted with senior staff, I'm working on finishing it up, to draft it to Robert and senior staff that we've got one solid, reference packet that shows this is your expectations, this is the scope of work, this is how you're supposed to be providing staffing. And these are your inspection documents, these are your deficiency everything, and it's one district packet versus each vendor doing something a little different, which is what we're trying to steer away from. Because I agree with you, I want to try to maintain and capture consistent data with all 3. So we can truly track, see how we're tracking all 3.
Yeah, again, kudos to the operations side and team, but this has been a journey to actually take us here. Please accept the gratitude.
Yes. Thank you, I appreciate that. Any other questions about custodial before we go on to maintenance?
Yeah. Mr. Nay,
Negative, thank you.
thank you, sir.
So we'll go through slide 1. I'm not going to get really into these. The next few slides are all snapshots of different periods of data. So slide 3 is going to focus on work orders to date. The information on this slide is going to capture our fiscal year 24 work order totals through June 30 of this year. The one thing that I do want to note as a cautionary that we are looking at and monitoring, you do start to see our trend down for work orders or total work orders completed. We're starting to see those levels fall in the last month of the fiscal year. So we will continue to monitor that number as well as maintenance initiated work orders. Moving on to slide 4. This is a new slide of data for y'all, and this is taking our total work orders for fiscal year 24 and let's compare it to 23. So let's look at it and see how we're tracking from a total work orders requested. And when you look at our FY23 on slide 4 and our FY24, you can see that we went from 22,186 to 24,291. So we had a 9.5% increase for total orders requested. Yeah, right there. But you can see overall, just looking at the whole data set on this page, you can see we're ticking up in every single category. So we're going to watch this. We're going to look at this data. Recognize we are in the final year of our maintenance contract, so no more extensions. The current maintenance contractor, their term is up June 30. So the maintenance solicitation, we've already sent it out to stakeholders within our department to start looking at our previous solicitation scope and start talking about, okay, what did we do well? What do we need to improve upon? What could we do different with the next solicitation? So we've already started those conversations with the intent to try to finalize something and get it to procurement by January of 2025. We'll have to stay on that track if we want to stay within selecting a vendor prior to our current vendor's contract expiring. So moving on to slide 5, these are our work orders to date. So this is again another data set, and now we're starting to track our new fiscal year, our FY25 starting with July 1. You're going to see our numbers are going to be low. They're going to be low for the first few months because we're only tracking for the first 30 days of the month. Okay, moving on to slide 6. So we're going to continue to report on this. I do want to note that there is a change for work orders by craft. This is for our July 1 through July 31 period. We were previously reporting on one of the 8 categories we reported on. We had in there fire extinguishers. But what we're seeing as we look through this work order data is we're seeing other categories, for instance, moving work orders that are really starting to push our work order counts up and also expending a lot of our man hours. So that is a change in this category. That's a new change that we're reporting to y'all on. So I just wanted you guys to know that change had been made to our work order categories. Our 2 work order categories for this month that were high were HVAC, so no surprise on that, and general maintenance work orders. H.E. McCracken had the highest HVAC work orders at 23. And you'll see in those notes that we had, various repairs that were due to condenser fan and blower motors. We had to stabilize temperatures in several spaces as far as recharging new units. The one thing I want to point out on this page in the focus is the school district did recognize that there was a struggle with our current maintenance provider to meet the demands that were needed at several of our locations. It wasn't just one, it was district-wide. In response to that, Beaufort County School District did issue a notice to cure to ADM Industries Group. That notice to cure did go out on August the 14th, and that was primarily due to recognizing we had multiple HVAC startups that were unsuccessful throughout the district for the start of school. The vendor is required to provide a written response within 7 calendar days with an intention to correct those deficiencies. So we are awaiting that report. And so we just wanted to let y'all know that we recognize those challenges are out there. It's not an isolated school. I wish I could say it was one school or one here and one there. I really do, but it's not, unfortunately. As far as the general maintenance category, that wasn't anything that we needed to focus on. Those are pretty typical of what we see this time of year. Moving on to slides 7 and 8. These are the slides that we show work order productivity. So you're going to see in slide 7, our north of the broad work order completed average days did start to increase. And you'll see in slide 8, south of the broad did come down a little bit. So we're going to go to slide 9. And so as with custodial, maintenance plays a very heavy part in our summer project schedules. And so their main focus for summer, instead of doing our summer blitz, they're really trying to look at schools and do as many small project work items as they can district-wide. So they're trying to really get in and do a lot of things for a lot of different schools. So please note that our school blitz will start reporting that again in September, and we have a north of the broad school. The slides on 9 and 10 are just some snapshots of project completions. Again, I mean, they're parking, they're doing parking stripe, painting, they're doing wall repairs. They're repairing and replacing, and removing, playground equipment. They're all over the place during the months of June and July. So those are some shots of some different places and spaces and campuses that we've done some work over the summer. So moving on to our last page, slide 11, we're reporting the maintenance update for staffing. They are at an 89% for their staffing. As you'll see there, they're down 7 positions. I will say we are continuing to struggle with filling our maintenance positions, continuing to struggle. I do want to report the maintenance director position was filled. It took a little bit to do that, but they did finally announce that Mr. Robert Lupke, who has been with the contractor since 2009, he has been appointed the maintenance director. So he does have the knowledge, he does have the background, and he is very familiar with our schools. So I'm confident that he will do a great job getting us back on track. ABM's moment, recognizing success. They were anywhere and everywhere we asked them to be. That's the best way I can put it this summer. They supported our summer institute. They supported our back to school. We had our English language arts curriculum. The state had that project that came down where we had to recycle the old academic, the instructional curriculum and bring the new curriculum. And that was a significant project that we did not plan for. But when we asked them to do it and assist us with coordinating that, they jumped right in to do that. The last note, and we kind of talked about this in the craft section, we are looking at moving. You'll see that last recognizing success, POSTA. We were 264 work orders for moving requests, 1,600 man hours. With a crew of roughly 60 technicians. That's a lot of man hours when you have to maintain facilities on top of that. So we're going to keep watching that and just see where we're moving in that direction. So that concludes the maintenance and custodial. So questions?
Yeah, ma'am, if I may, what's triggering the increase in the moving? Is it episodic and it's going to flatten out, or?
End of the year and start of the year. So
Yeah.
teachers moving locations, principals rearranging their buildings, all that kind of stuff happens.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions for maintenance or custodian?
No, I was just smiling because nothing's changed with the moving.
Oh.
I think it's gotten worse. I don't know. It seems like.
Yeah, we think they can do everything. Yeah, I understand.
Mr. Nay? Mr. Nay, any questions, sir?
No questions. Thank you very much. Very thorough.
My question is, as Mr. Triple would say, and in terms of takeaway from this, and just to go back to how you said it so policy about that we knew, that you were aware, and that basically that there were several buildings in terms of AC and those different things that occur that occur throughout the district. And so basically more of an what would be more of a I forgot what it was, terminology we used to use, but more of an after action review. Basically looking from last year to this year, and then from this year to next year, what would be basically takeaways, what he's called it. My question would be to the committee and as well to the staff, if we would have some takeaways, what would we say the takeaways would be from transitioning from this summer from the beginning of last year to this year?
So what I would say is that we did better this year than last year, but not good enough. And we did a few things different this year, in order to try to get a better handle on it. One of the things we did is in early July, we ran all of our buildings for 4 days. Because during the summer, to save money, we turn air conditioning to a high set point, so they only come up, when it gets close to 80 degrees or something like that. Because no one's in the building and we don't want to waste the energy. But what we did is ran all our systems for 4 days straight. We had people in my staff office and maintenance monitoring the systems and creating a list of where all our problem areas were. And so we thought that was a very good move, and we still think that was a very good move. And we will do that in the future. Now, the problem was, I would say, is that there was not enough. One of our issues is that we had that director position transition. The old director left of all of maintenance, left in early June. And really, they didn't set that position in place. We had 2 interims running it until just last week. So it was kind of a ship with not enough direction and there wasn't enough sense of urgency. So by the time we started up systems a week early. By the time we started up systems, there were too many problems for them to handle. And that is a lesson that we're internally working on. How do we improve that for the next contract? So there are some changes we're going to make going forward with the next maintenance contract to do a better job, making sure that we are set up for success at the start of the school year. Because one of the problems with roofing and HVAC that drives me nuts is that you find a problem due to parts and other things, you're not able to solve it immediately. A lot of times it may sit for weeks or even months waiting on parts. So you can't find out the problems last minute. That is not a solution that works. You have to find them out a month or 2 months early. So that's what we're gonna do. Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I agree with that. And thank you for that. We've had conversations internally amongst our operations staff. We've met with maintenance management team, seems like almost every day. And we've even met with their higher level corporate management team to say, hey, what can we do better? We've got to really start thinking about, even though we did some things different this year, it still wasn't enough. So yes, we're working to improve that, even right down to looking at that solicitation when it comes to maintenance. How can we set ourselves up for success with our HVAC, with the HVAC side of the house, as critical as it has become over the last 3 years. So
Would it be possible that you could codify your root cause, what I call root cause analysis? You look at what enables this breakdown to occur, and put it into a document, concise document, so that if we build on that intellectual knowledge, and it's not just verbal, which is great, but we can constantly say, okay, here's a little bit more, and then it's accretive over time. And every time there's a new board member or what have you, you're passing that on so they can see how great work you're already doing. Okay.
So in other words, can everybody need to bring that back next meeting?
I don't know how much time, yeah, definitely have to bring it back.
I think it sounds like we're doing an HVAC report next meeting.
Okay. And Mr. Auding was patient enough to take me into his office and show me some of the software, and it's pretty doggone amazing. Thank you. Okay. Is the next item?
The next item is discipline. So
Okay.
we're still in open session.
Okay, very good.
So those, Ms. Lucia Mileto O'Brien is the Director of Transportation, so she will be talking to you today about discipline on school buses. Yes, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, we have. And Robin will run it over.
Okay, so a misconduct overview. Just going over some of the evolving misconduct trends that we are seeing. We're exploring the alarming rise of school bus misconduct incidents and the changing landscape over the past decade. Trends that are emerging over the years would be your most common violations of basic rules, bullying, and then more serious incidents like physical altercations, assault, and substance use by the students. These behaviors not only create an unsafe environment for the students, but for the safety of the driver as well as the safety of them traveling down the road, which can lead to accidents. You have your rise in technology related misconduct. So some of the use of smartphones and social media could lead to cyberbullying and inappropriate content sharing. And those are things that we train our bus drivers to become more aware of. So it's an ongoing process of things that we're seeing or trends that we truly, train our drivers to be taking note of. Increased incidents of physical altercations, same exact thing. How do we de-escalate those fights, harassment, and other forms of physical violence? And then your normal disrespect and non-compliance or refusal to follow the bus rules. How do we change our thinking to get the students to behave in the way in which we want them to? The next slide is just pictures. Next, we're going to go over the current misconduct form procedures. So our current procedures are that the school bus driver completes a bus misconduct form, which is done on a piece of paper. The school bus driver then turns in that completed misconduct form to administration at the particular school. The administration at that particular school addresses the behavioral concern and it administers the disciplinary action. One of the things that we have noticed while we are, just reviewing our processes is that the school bus drivers do not receive any type of update on discipline or actions being taken, which is, definitely causing some of the drivers to feel frustrated. So we are going to improve upon that. Addressing misconduct on school buses leads to safer transportation for the students, as well as the drivers.
And for whatever it's worth, I know bullying is very, very intimidating. And for me personally, not as, anything else other than an individual in society.
Sure.
I think the firmer we can be in implementing discipline, I think it will help our kids feel safe. So for whatever that's worth, it's just one opinion.
Thank you for that. Yes. So one of the programs that we have researched is the company is called Bus Conduct. So it'll move us more into a technology-based misconduct system. So the driver is still going to initiate that referral. The referral can be created very quickly. Our transportation supervisors or area supervisors will then receive those referrals. They'll take a look at them and pass them on to the next level. The next level would be the school administrators for review and action. So this way they're able to side by side review exactly, has this child been written up previously? If so, for what and what were the consequences? Which will give them a better idea of where to go with the next discipline step. Immediate feedback, so those results are communicated then back to the driver and the transportation department with automated documentation and for reporting of each step in the process. The system can even go to a portion where it will generate a letter out to the parents. We have not really discussed that too far. But that's just some of we're looking to trial this program at Hilton Head and also at Port Royal, so that we can get an idea as to, how it's going to work. And then after the trial, if it's successful, which I'm hopeful that it is, we'll be rolling it out probably by January to the other schools, as long as everybody agrees.
I have a question.
Yes,
Port Royal, are you talking about the elementary school?
yes,
And when you look at Hilton Head, are you talking about the elementary or the?
elementary.
Well, the ECC.
Yeah.
We want to start it in some smaller schools, just to make sure that we get a good handle on how it works before we.
But you're also talking about, there's no difference in the consequence, the behavior. You have an elementary kid who's 7, 8 years old. His or her actions are gonna be different from a 14, 15, 16-year-old. Sure. All right, so you're looking at the same type of behavior, same type of. So when you try to modify up in January, sure, what you saw at the elementary school, believe me, it's nothing near what you're gonna see at the high school.
Sure, absolutely.
And I think you have to get the parents involved on the onset, not later. Like Mr. Campbell always says, where's the parent? So when kids have altercations on the bus, which could endanger other children's lives and the bus driver, that parent needs to know we need to have something stronger than. I've been on the buses with them. I've seen them dancing, singing, cussing, fighting, the whole bit, from elementary to high school. But when you deal with a high school student with behavior issues on the bus, compared to elementary, I'll take an elementary kid anyway.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
I just think that if you're gonna look, I think you need to look at a middle high school, as well as elementary, because little kids don't drive themselves to school. Parents put them on the bus. They get in a fight or bullying, this and that. They're swinging their feet at you while you're sitting there talking to them. They're looking up in the city. No clue. But the high school kid knows what he or she is doing and knows the consequences after, great. And our bus drivers, believe me, they need to be able to drive safely. They can't be looking up in the mirror every 5 seconds to see what the kids are doing, because they're doing some stuff on the buses now, that need to be addressed. I just think if you're gonna look at this, I think one of those schools need to be middle high versus 2 elementary. So it doesn't matter if they north of the border or south of it. If they're 8 years old, they're 8 years old. Sure. Right? But if they're 14, 15, 16-year-olds, that's a different kind of animal. When I get on the bus to bring a kid off the bus at 16 or 17, the interaction is gonna be different, the conversation is gonna be different, grasping up gonna be different, than that little 8-year-old that I can just look at him and they start getting off the bus. They may be mumbling under their breath, but they're not gonna take me on. But believe me, high school kids will take on bus drivers, AP, school resource officer, doesn't matter. So I just think just when you're looking at it, just maybe reconsider one versus the other.
Well, I think it's a great point hearing you talk. I still want to start with elementary, because to your point, it is a little easier. But I think a good idea maybe before we roll it out, and then pilot, once we finish elementary, pilot in the middle, a couple middle and high school, and then roll it out district wide. So
So you're gonna look at 2 elementary schools.
right. And then after that's done, look at a
Then
middle.
you're gonna, okay, because I didn't hear that at first. I just.
No, we weren't. I just,
Elementary.
after hearing your conversation, I think that's a good idea, and that's probably what we need to do.
And your bus drivers are gonna tell you, they all need to be looked at. And But I don't know how they do it. I see the bus drivers every morning driving up 6:15 to be up on the roads to get our children safely to school. But then I also see them have to pull over because they're fighting or cussing. And they can't drive like that. I can't drive like that. So if we can make this easier for the bus drivers, to bring our children home safely, pick them up safely, and so they don't, get off the bus and leave the bus in the middle of the highway. I'm for that. I'm for that. I just think American children, I'm just saying, this is me. They don't have enough discipline or consequences on this like they should. And that's our fault. That's our fault. But once we put it in and keep it going, they'll do what we require them to do on that list. Mississippi. They can talk, but they don't have to be up fighting and cussing and bringing, knives on the bus and stuff. Y'all know they do it. So we're not just talking back at the bus driver. We're talking about physical harm to people's children. And like he said, making other children feel bad. We've got to do it. So I appreciate this. I do.
Yes, of course. How many are you shortest of the bus driver?
Yes.
Starting salary is what, 15? $15 now.
Yeah, somewhere around 15. Yeah, I get numbers.
I think it was 18, 12.
The reason I ask is because in Georgia, their starting salary is $21 with no experience at all.
Well, I mean, that's one thing we look at, because we're competing with the same, you live in Jasper County, you can drive in Jasper, you can drive in Beaufort, or you can drive in Georgia.
Yeah.
So, it is our competition.
But the pay is different.
Yeah.
And I don't care what people say. I want to be paid. And I know they do too for their work. And sometimes we forget it's not about what we think they're doing, but what that driver thinks he or she is worth, so they have to go through, every morning, because what they drive from like 6:15 to 9 something, 10, they're off until 1 something to get the others. So in between that gap time, they're not, I don't think they're getting paid. I don't know. They're not getting paid for these 4 hours. So some of them go to Walmart somewhere, they work until it's time to leave. To fill that gap to be paid, to have benefits and whatever. So we may need to, we don't have enough money to cure everybody's ills. But when it comes to, was it 97% of our kids have to ride the bus?
90?
Is-
We're more like 50. 50%, yeah,
Okay.
50% of our kids ride.
Ride the bus.
Somewhere very close to 50.
And that's the 50% we don't want. No.
I didn't say that.
I'm just saying, it just depends on the child, but they have to get to school. And we can't drive them. So I would be like you, maybe look at future. Miss Tanya's here.
Well, I will say, we've given over the last 3 years our bus drivers some pretty significant raises. Now, is it enough? Maybe not, but we have been consistent with giving them good raises. I'd say higher than the rest of the district staff.
And that's also just to try to catch them up, because we realized that, I remember coming on board, that they haven't been touched in years.
Yeah.
They haven't been effective, so we were really just trying to catch them up to be equal towards, their position in this district. And also just to add to what Mrs. Campbell and, Mrs. Gordon was saying, that I talked to this bus driver the other day, and I asked her, I said, when you coming back? And she said, coming back where? I said, drive buses. She said, how? She said, have you checked on base? I didn't realize we've lost a lot of bus drivers to base too. Because on base, they pay them a good, they pay them probably a little better than 21. I didn't realize that bases I had that much bus drivers. I guess to move recruits around and do different things. So a lot of a lot of bus drivers have went there as well to, drive for the base because of the benefits and also that they get, so that's just some other stuff I was thinking about, I didn't realize there was that much competition out in terms of, I'm not gonna start, I was thinking small term, of, oh, we just compete against Jasper, you know, but when you really look at it, there's a lot of different, you know, there's a lot of different competition out there. And some of them going to states out here, they go to drive trucks, so if we really want bus drivers, that's something in the future that we're gonna have to really ask ourselves. Whether we can pay, whether we really willing to pay for them, because once again, I didn't realize that you had base as well, who we had to compete with in terms of getting bus drivers. I mean, maybe you guys do, but I didn't realize that.
I actually did not know about base, but you heard Brandy say it's been trouble to get maintenance workers and we lose a lot of maintenance
The
workers.
base, yeah. So base must be, yeah, base is outsourcing us right now.
And unfortunately, it's hard for us to compete with.
Federal government,
Well, I mean, it's-
federal money.
Let me ask you a question, if I may. Anybody? Okay. What is our pay posture in terms of the range from the top to the bottom? Where do we want to be in that? Do we want to be in the top quarter or 50% in terms of paying our bus drivers versus the competition?
Well, we haven't done it this year. In past year, we usually do it about budget time. And as far as our pay to the other districts surrounding us, we're usually the highest outside of Chatham County. So Chatham County in Georgia, of course, they're usually a little higher than us. But you look at, we're competing really with Jasper, Colleton, that area, we usually exceed them on those pretty substantially.
It might be worthwhile to take a look at where our pay posture is in the
We can do
range. And then come back and show us what the competition and expand the competition to better the pool.
Now, I've never looked at the base, to be honest with you. We've always just looked at school districts around us, but this is.
Yeah.
Good information.
Yeah, that's not something I ever thought about, actually, to be honest with you.
So that will give us some, platform to take a look at it. And maybe this group needs to come forward with the recommendations. We move teachers up. Boy, did that work. So taking care of the kids is absolutely. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
I did have one more question, in terms of this program that you said you were using.
We haven't used it yet.
Right. Well, the question is, who, where, why, and how? What's the? Is that a program, is that something that's being purchased by a district, or is it a tryout period, they just try it out, what does that look like, and how's that gonna work?
Well, we've already purchased.
Yeah.
I mean, and so what we talked about is rolling out in small scale, because it's gonna be about the communication with the school and the bus drivers, so we wanna make sure on a small scale, which is a little easier, get that communication piece down before we go bigger, so we're gonna roll it out to those two schools in the near future, and after we feel comfortable with that, we said earlier, we'll move it up and take a middle school or high school, and then try it there and make sure we get those kinks worked out. And then hopefully by the start of next year, we'll be able to roll it out nationwide.
And in terms of internal technology, what does that look like? I know you said you're talking about these bus drivers will have to basically fill the referral.
Mhm.
So are they getting, how will that work? Will they have a iPad, or will they, how are they gonna get that done? And so what's that gonna cost?
They can either utilize their cell phone or they can come into the office, and we have computers at each location where they can log in and do their email and that kind of stuff. So they'll be able to do the referrals right in-house or on their phone, whichever works best for them.
Or I think we're gonna have a few that are still gonna have to do paper. And we may have somebody in the office that's gonna have to do, computers. Some that aren't as computer savvy, so they may be more comfortable doing paper, but we'll then have to.
So what you're talking about, if Carol and I get into an altercation on the bus on Monday. So by the time the bus driver goes back to your building to put it in. It's Tuesday. So we don't get a consequence, we move it.
No, I mean, if they had something of that nature, they'd need to do it that day.
We have
can't-
many situations where something of a critical, I'm sorry.
No, you don't.
But where there's a critical situation and we are in contact with, you know, the school administrators or the
And they can
police
take
or
care of it right then.
100%, yes. So that everybody's on the same page and knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to wait a day for someone.
I just wanna be sure because you were saying that if we have an incident and you go into this computerized system, and if they don't use their phones, they will have to go back to the station.
Sure.
To put it in. So in the meantime, while they're putting it in, the administrators, they've got other things going on at the school too, so they probably won't get to me and him until later, which means it may be the next day for that bus incident.
So
taken care of.
we pretty much police it pretty heavily. If there's something that's going on, those drivers, believe me, they will tell you things you don't wanna know and then things that you do wanna know, so. You know, it's basically our supervisors and office staff that are going to make that determination. And if it's really of a critical nature like that, there's gonna be a telephone call saying, here's what you can expect to come, and our staff can even initiate that referral.
But you all can't put me and him off the bus.
No, we would refer to
And yeah,
the
the school will
administrator.
have to do that.
Correct.
So again, the parent will have to be involved in it because you got to call the parent to let them know that the two of us were in an altercation on the bus.
And we normally do that. If we're contacting the police, we will also, either the school will contact the parents or my staff will contact the parents.
That's why we also wanna start it off small, so we can work out those details that we're getting it turned around in a timely fashion. And it's working smoothly, so. Yeah, that's why we do those.
Earlier to begin with, if I may.
Sure.
We talked about, a letter to the parents. And I sense a little hesitation. Is there inhibition about sending a letter to the parent or is that part of the process?
Partly because that's more on the school administrative side. Yeah, we aren't gonna wanna do that out of transportation, that would come out of this.
And does the process sort of specifies the types of infractions that would trigger a letter? So that's very clear. So there's no wiggle room. I can't say, oh, I'm not gonna send phones parents a letter because I like phone.
It's basically the student code of conduct. that
Okay.
Dictates,
Sounds good.
I mean, student code of conduct in the classroom is the same as it is on the bus.
The parent is gonna get notified either way.
Okay.
The administrator will notify the parents depending on what it is.
I just want to add, we have an administrative regulation, student transportation on buses. And in that regulation states very clearly it's a privilege to be in a bus, how students are expected to act, what their conduct is, what sanctions are gonna be if they violate. And that's in our student in the handbook, so the parents are aware of it.
Because we let them
To
know
keep safety
quickly, it's not their right to be on the bus, it's a privilege.
You can lose your privilege if you fail to comply with the rules.
So that hasn't changed.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Usually it's for a period of time, I mean,
Yeah.
permanent.
It's not permanent.
Yeah, usually 2 weeks, whatever the penalty is.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome back in town, man.
Victor
Just
has
talk to
something.
them.
Victor has something.
Oh, Mr. Nate, Mr. Nate,
Yes, thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Chair.
Victor has
Yeah, so do we have, what kind of buy-in do we have from the principals? Because I mean, who's once something is some infraction has been identified, then it's being We run it up through the system. I'm assuming an assistant principal is going to have to deal with this. I mean, has all this been bought in by the school administrations first that were put in, that were basically dragging them into this system? And are other schools using this system? Have we looked at the success that other schools that are using the system are having?
So let me talk about Vine and I'll let you talk about the other schools. We haven't rolled it out yet. So as of right now, we're just getting ready to do that. So we have zero buy-in because right now those principals aren't too aware of it. So that's something we have to work on. And then references.
So yes, there's other school districts throughout the country that utilize this software. So our
Like schools that, I mean, like 2 or 3 or like 100?
I don't know an exact number, I'm sorry, but I can get you that information.
I'm just wondering, I mean, if it's if only 1 or 2 other schools are using it, maybe it's not as successful as we think it is. But if, 1,000 schools are using it across the country, then I'd be a little bit more on board with it. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what our administrators across the district have to say about this.
So we didn't want to roll it out, start of school, when it's all happening. So we're just now about to start talking about putting it in place. So that's why we're only starting at 2 schools. So yeah, the rest of the administrators would not know. It's only going to be at Port Royal and only ECC.
Don't you think they should know about it?
You can tell them it's coming. The one thing is once we start talking about it, they're going to start wanting to know why it's not in their school. I want to, I need it now. And so we got to kind of tiptoe into it. But yeah, I don't mind telling them that we're in the pilot stage. We can do that at the next leadership meeting. Just let them know.
I think it may help build support for it.
Okay, we can do that.
I would wanna know.
Can do that.
Thank you both.
Absolutely, thank you.
Can't go anywhere.
Okay, any, that concludes what's on the official agenda prior to the executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Ms. Lloyd?
We gotta go into.
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we move into executive session.
Second.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Nathan. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Executive session.
Give it, so we have to stop.
No problem.